Hello, I think it's live. I'm gonna assemble some rackets. I have a setup here. We'll see how the stream works, see how the rackets go. But like usual, if I'm gonna be assembling all these rackets, might as well record a bit so people can see the process. Feel free to ask questions about equipment, different things. You can see there's some tenergy, dignics, some older blades, some newer blades. My friend gave me the GWO glue to use, but like I said before, I don't really like it. But maybe I'll try one or two. I like the Revolution 3 glue. I'll use that. And there's an MLTT going on. It starts in like 45 minutes, so you could go watch that over there too. I'll type some things here in the chat. This is gonna take a while, so I'll just be doing whatever. So it's the last regular season match for MLTT. It starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so definitely go watch it. Not sure who's playing. I mean, I kind of could guess, but I'm typing, so you can go find it. It's on MLTT's YouTube, Major League Table Tennis. What else? Oh yeah, and if you need table tennis equipment, you can go to Megaspin, and if you use my affiliate link that's in the description, I'd appreciate it. So you can buy things like the glue or these rackets. Maybe I'll show you the website sometime on here. But either way, you can go to megaspin.net. But if you click the link in my profile, thumbs up, all the thumbs. So let's look. You can see the different rackets, right? This is a Axiom Solo. I'll see. I'm not sure which camera I should be showing things to. I guess it's so Solo. Looks like 7-ply blade. I guess I have to get used to which camera I'm showing things. So let's see if it shows it good here or not. Not. I don't want to mess right here. Yeah, you can see the plies, but it's not that easy. Anyway, Axiom Solo has a T on the back. Don't know what that's for. This has the Axiom Omega 7 Asia on both sides. And you see here's the list of things I wrote out to make the changes. So this blade, I'm taking off these rubbers and then I'm putting on dignics 64 and tenergy 05. Yeah, I think I'll show it to this camera. That makes more sense instead of trying to do this. Well, who cares? Anyway, dignics 64, tenergy 05 going on this blade. That's one. All right, so that's number one on the list. Next up on the list, we got a DHS. Okay, this camera works pretty well too. It's not my face. So, DHS Power G. I also don't know much about this one. It looks really thick. I guess maybe I'll look up some of the blades in a bit. I didn't look at it. They're not mine. I'm assembling them for a friend. Anyway, Yasaka Roxa 7 on black side, and then T-Bar Quantum X on the purple side. I don't know if you can see the purple on that one as much, but you can see it here. Right? Like a light purple. So you have to have, if you have a different colored rubber like this, you have to have black on one side, and then you can have the purple, the pink, the blue, the green, uh, and red, of course. I think that's all the colors for now. But anyway, that's racket number two. I'm going to take those rubbers off, and then we're putting, show the cameras, Dignics 05 on both sides. And then I'll be moving that Roxa 7. What to do? I got my work cut out for me today. I'll be moving the Roxa 7 to this Hunter Venom blade. I don't know anything about that brand. I've never heard of it. Hunter. Can you see it? That doesn't focus. I was messing with the webcam settings to change some things because it was annoying me, but maybe I messed something up. Anyway, so Hunter Venom right now that has Curl P4 long pips. These Milky Way Neptune, also maybe long pips or something. I don't know, but the Roxa 7 will go on with this because that's a good combo blade. What else? Then I got this Stiga Master Active one with these. I'm not sure what these rubbers are called. Let's see. Juice. I've never heard of that brand. Juke, Juice. Anyway, Juice 999 Elite for best spin play. It says. So I'm taking these rubbers off. They're pretty old. It looks like they're not old, but well, they're not like they still have grip to them, but they look in use condition. Anyway, Master Active Stiga. I don't know anything about this blade either. I think these are almost all 7-ply blades. Maybe my friend specifically was looking at a 7-ply blade, so wanted to change things. Anyway, so we looked at that. Stiga Master Active, remove the juice ones, put on the Curl P5 by Victus. That's long pips. Long pips, and it has zero point 0.5 sponge on it. So P5, 0.5, P5, Curl 5, zero point 0.5. And that'll go with that quantum rubber. You can see why I made a list of all the things, because it'd be hard to remember all these things. Anyway, quantum will go with the Curl P5. I'll have to keep track of all this. Hunter Venom, I get rid of the Milky Way Neptune. I leave this and I put that Roxa 7 on, like I said. So I'll make sure to kind of clean things up a bit. So I keep saying so. I have to work on my presentation skills, get rid of the filler words. I almost said anyway, but instead I talked about it. This glue, the GWO, it dries quickly and it doesn't, like if you make one little mistake and you have to move the rubbers on, you're kind of toast. So I'm scared to use it with those ones because I don't want to mess up the nice rubbers. And I really like the Revolution 3 glue. I definitely recommend this. You can get that a lot of different places, but Megasman has it. I forget where I got it most recently, but anyway, I like that because it's easy to put on. When you do take the rubbers off, you have to peel it off if you want to get rid of the layer, or you could kind of glue over it. But the only glue I can think of that like completely disappears is that first butterfly free check. So you put that on, and it disappears. You never see it again. It just glues to the blade somehow. But I like this one because you can remove it somewhat easily anyway. It's not a big deal. If you've watched previous equipment streams, some people would see me remove glue from other blades that I didn't assemble. It was a pain, and then other ones where I did, possibly still a pain, but less of one. Anyway, I'll stop talking and get started. MLTT starts in 40 minutes. You can go check that. I'll be kind of wandering around because this takes a long time, so I won't be like sitting here all the time. And it's good. That's why I have MLTT going. Stuff, something to do while it's on. Feel free to ask questions about the equipment or MLTT. This is the last regular season match for MLTT today, and then it'll be the championship weekend, April 12th through 13th in Philadelphia. And yep, that's about it. So let's get started on some stuff. So since I know not working, I need to take the rubbers off the Axiom Solo. I always say Axiom or Xiom, or I don't know how you say it. So most times you just kind of take your side tape off first. The side tape's pretty cool. You see it? It says Xiom. Like I said, I didn't assemble these rackets, so you never quite know what's gonna be under the rubbers and what condition they are, or the glue and stuff. So anyway, got that. So it says Axiom Novus Torwood 7-ply off. So it's a 7-ply wood blade, meaning there's 7 little sheets of wood in there. Offensive blade, solo. Anyway, keep going. Lately I've been pulling it at diagonal because I was pulling it straight up and down before, and someone said, oh, you could hurt the plies. You should go up across it. And I think with good blades it doesn't matter as much, although if you change it a lot it could, but sometimes you gotta be careful. So look here, actually it's kind of neat. Let's see if it shows you. Of course, I turned off the autofocus and now you can't see it. What if I put it here? Okay. Well, it's kind of small, but you see it's right in the middle of control. Control is a mix between control and aggression. That says for strategy. For technique, it says It's right in between topspin and smash. Distance from table is a little more for close to mid distance because it's not super fast all around. Or I mean, it's offensive. It's right in the middle. You see offensive. All plus is all around plus. Offensive minus. Offensive. Rebound level. I don't know. 0. Center deflection's got flex, but not too flexy. Hardness feel mild. So those are the characteristics that Xiaom has put on this blade. You can't really compare the characteristics between manufacturers, but you can compare what manufacturers say about their different blades of their own, right? Because they're basing them off their own system. But like Butterfly and Stiga are going to have different systems. Anyway, just getting a little bit of reminiscent old glue off. This blade's in good shape, and those rubbers came off easily. The wood feels like a little soft or something. Anyway, here's the rubbers I took off. Which ones are those? The Xiaom Omega 7 Asia. You look at it, I mean, it's pretty smooth, so you could just re-glue that onto another blade. It wouldn't be a big deal. If you were playing it as like your main blade and you really cared, then it would probably bother me. So you could put glue on it and remove it, or try and peel it up. But it's pretty smooth. Whenever it's like mostly smooth, maybe just leave it. So for now, I'll put these rubbers. I'm not putting this on another blade right now, so it doesn't matter. So we remove those. And then I'll go over there. Next, we'll do the rubber removing first, right? So these juice ones are coming off also. It's another on the same side tape. I'll try and save it so I can put it back on. It's pretty nice. It's not really thick. You can see compared to the butterfly side tape, it's not quite as thick, so it doesn't go all the way to the end of the rubbers, which maybe that's better in terms of like it doesn't change how the rubber feels when it hits near the edge, but it doesn't protect them quite as much. And so for me, I'm always hitting the table on accident, of course. So I need the side tape that goes all the way in. Yeah, I have a feeling these sponges might come up a bit, so let's see. It's pretty brittle. I just don't want to ruin it here at the bottom. Like I said, when you didn't do the assembly, you don't quite know what type of glue was used, how long they've been on, what conditions they've been stored. Came off one piece. Blade looks good. Another one where the surface seems kind of soft. Let's see. I'll take this one off in one go. Let's see if it matters. Same. See, so this is a good example. There's not much glue residue on these, so whatever glue was there didn't leave much. Maybe there wasn't glue on it, or maybe a lot of glue got absorbed into the blade or sponge. Either way, with these, if you were putting them on another blade, you could just put them right on. You wouldn't have to do anything to the sponge. Just re-glue them because it's going to lay mostly flat. All right, let's look. I mean, really, there's no glue residue on this blade, so that's good. Got a few little chips here and there. So you can see there it's peeled off a little bit already. But overall, got that off. No problems. Put that. Put these juice rubbers. These aren't going on anything. I think maybe at some point I'd buy like $5 AliExpress blades and put some of the old rubbers on. And then I'm not sure what I would do with them at that point. But those would be the first two steps of anything. Alright, so these are the rubbers that I took off completely, not putting these on the other blades. So I'll set those aside for now. Get that one ready. So this is removed. Cross those out just so I know those are gone. Milky Way. All right, so we got a long pips over here. Looks like it's got a little sponge there. Not sure how it was glued, so gotta be careful. Cause I'll try and reuse this on something. If you see my face in general struggle when I do it, it's not because it's so difficult to pull it off, but I'm trying to pull it off without damaging. Uh, well, in this case, the sponge or the pips, right? Because the pips, you don't want to like stretch it out too far; it could throw it off. Maybe that make it funkier. Maybe the pips people would like that. I don't know. So I'll keep that around. Put that on a blade sometime. Yeah. So now we're getting to the nitty gritty. I've gotten rid of most of the things I just had to remove. Now I gotta like make sure I do the right moves. This blade's interesting. It's got like a very defined texture to it. You can feel every little line there in the wood. That's the Hunter Venom. Haven't heard of it. Sometimes those weirder blades are made for like the defensive stuff. Maybe that's why the pips are on both sides. But anyway, so that's that Curl P4. I'm gonna be putting that Roxa 7 on this one. Okay, so that's removed. So I've removed everything that needs to be removed. Maybe I'll use the GWO glue to put the Roxa 7 on this blade. That would be like your lowest risk maneuver with the GWO glue to try it out and we can compare it. But I'm not sure. I might just use the Revolution 3 and avoid problems on this nice sunny Sunday while I wait 30 more minutes for the next MLTT match, which is going to be between the Spinners and the Princeton Revolution. There's been a lot of really crazy Golden Game outcomes this weekend. It seems like I didn't get to watch the matches live, but I went back and watched some. Like people, a team trailing a lot one way and then coming back in the Golden Game to get the big comebacks that were more rare throughout the history of the league so far, but it seems like recently in this weekend they're happening more often. But that's also because most of the teams have already either qualified for the championship weekend or realize they're not going to make it to championship weekend. So the rosters are a little different. There's some people sitting out resting, this and that, and the other. All right, we're getting there. I'm going to assemble a racket at some point. Anyone who's watched a previous stream knows I waste a lot of time before I start. I should have started actually already doing this, so it would already be like in the process of drying and happening, but I didn't. Anyway, we're gonna go one more, and this Roxa 7's going on here. Right, you can't see that. This Roxa 7's going on there. This Quantum is going on the Stiga. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove these, put these there, do that. I'm gonna do the two new ones with my Revolution 3 glue, just so we start off getting those done right, and then we'll work on these other ones after. So it'll take a little while on two sequences. I don't like to work on more than two rackets at once. Let's say, I mean, sometimes you can do three or four, but the more you do, then the more you have to pay attention. If something goes wrong, you just have to do a little more at once, which I don't feel like doing. Anyway, one more piece of side tape. Just stick them to the table. I'm trying not to get them in the way. So you can reuse side tape until it gets really torn up. I guess it just depends. Sometimes it's nice to put a little new side tape on. It makes your racket look new, even though it's not. And it protect like if you really beat up your racket, then once the side tape gets hit a few times, you might want to replace it anyway, reinforce it. Roxa 7 coming off. Anyone out there who's like a beginner or like an advanced beginner, intermediate player, Roxa 7 is really good. Always recommend it. You can pretty much put on any blade. You can put it on both sides. It's medium hardness, like 47 degrees. Got some bounce, but not ultra bouncy. It got some grip, but not crazy. Spin sand. It's just kind of all around middle of the road rubber, but it's durable. It's not that expensive, and it's a good benchmark when moving to other things. And it works a little bit like all the rubbers, right? Like a budget tenergy, but also to me, it's not so different than say the ideas behind some of the newer hybrids with good grip, but not a lot of catapult. It's still aggressive. So this one is going on this blade. So I'll set it like that for now. Always good to look at to see how it lines up. Like this one, I'll just set it on there. Normally, it's not quite the right size for that blade, but it'll be close. That's the nature of moving blades from one to the other because the head sizes are different. And in this quantum, my T-bar, nice purple rubber. You can see it over here. You can't see it much over here. So purple rubber, a cream colored sponge, beige. T-bar, they call it violet. All right, so T-bar Quantum Pro Violet. I can see it. All right. So that'll go on one side of this blade. Let's see how it fits. Doesn't fit so well on that one. I might have to ask my friend what he thinks about that. Anyway, so that's pretty small. Let's see. Well, we'll see. Either use that or have to get a different rubber for that one. I'm just curious what the size of this one is. All right, so honestly, I might hold off on assembling this one today because of the size of the racket compared to the sheets we have. I don't want to put something on there that looks really silly. So that's the Stiga. Yeah, we're supposed to have the new Curl P5. We're supposed to have that and this. But you can see that. I mean, I'm gonna ask my friend if he wants to do it. I've made blades like that before, fine, plenty, but that's a little bit too uniformly small. But we'll see. No, I don't need a video of the blade. I'm going to take a photo. All right. Sorry. So that means the rubbers that came off the Stiga blade. The juice rubbers. Let me see. I could put the red juice rubber back on it. I'll ask. Wish I wouldn't have taken it off then. But it's not a big deal. Let's see what he says. So hello, if you're watching, ask about uh, equipment or MLTT. I'm gonna assemble some rackets here in a second. I need to ask my friend what he wants me to do with this one. Well, actually, I'm just gonna wait on that one. There's nothing to be done. So we update our list. We say this one's gotta wait. Okay, gotta wait. Can't do the Stiga because the blade's too big. So can do a so counter. How many times do I say so? So this is our new updated lineup, more or less. Gonna put the new rubbers on these two today, and Yeah, I'll test out the GWO glue on this one because it's a Roxa 7. It's been used, so it's low risk, right? Does that make sense? I might ask about this one too because this one's so small. Yeah. Anyway, actually changing plans there too. Well, well, audible on this one probably too. Let's see. If I put this rover exactly how it needs to be down, this one's close. I mean, I would actually not. I would play with a racket that looks like that, so that's why it's not really a big deal if I do this one. The other one was too far off. No, I'm gonna ask about that one too. So that's the Curl P4, and that's the Roxa 7. I'm gonna take a picture of that too, and then I'll start assembling soon. I promise. Sorry, I know I think I did this every time so far. So if you watch MLTT, say something about it. Let me know what you think. If you're gonna watch the last regular season match, I'll say this is just kind of part of like doing live assembly streams. It's always gonna be little things you gotta figure out on the fly. That's why I don't mind doing some extra assembly because you kind of learn a little bit each time about the assembly stuff. And so then when it comes to doing my assembly, I feel pretty good about it. So we'll wait on those two for now, just till I get an answer. Definitely waiting on the Stiga because that's a new rubber on the one side, and then I'll probably need a new rubber for the other side. And then the Hunter Venom, also going to put weight. Put that over here. All right. I swear we're gonna assemble a racket here sooner or later. So let's look at what we got. We got the Zion Blade 7-ply offensive Novus Torwood. They seem to think it falls pretty much right down the middle. Flex, offensiveness, balance, hardness. Put the dignics 64 and tenergy 05 on that blade. You can choose which ones you want for like forehand or backhand. You switch around. I'm not sure. I think the idea is I'm not actually not sure which one is supposed to be forehand. Doesn't matter. And then this is the DHS Power G9. This is 7-ply also, but this says off the whole scale. This is offensive plus. Let's say offensive plus, right? If you were to say offensive plus 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 plus, right, is +2. So it's not the absolute fastest. That would be +3, I guess. But it's the second fastest out of the scale of DHS. So let's take them for the word and say it's a pretty fast blade. It's got power in the name. Power is the game. And like I said, also 7-ply. So you can see these are both 7-ply. Can you see them all right here? I don't know. Yeah. So there's 7 little plies in there. Let's see. You can see the one on the left better. Actually, in real life, that's the same way. So you can't really see the difference as much on this blade on the right. But let's see if I bring it over here. Yeah, kind of. Anyway, Axiom, Digging 64, and 10G05, DHS Power G, Dignics 05 on both sides. And that, you can look at that, Dignics 05, okay? It's black 2.1, red 2.1. We'll get those going on. I think these are both 2.1. Okay. Black 1.9 for the dignics 64. Red 2.1 for tenergy 05. So the 1.9 is like the thinner of the two sponges. 2.1 is technically butterfly's max thickness sponge for these. I have 2.1 on my blade now. I also tried 1.9 for certain rubbers. You can consider the weight difference or the speed and control and stuff. Part of why I think I didn't start assembling quite yet is because I have this one camera set up kind of in my way, so I'm going to have to figure out a way around it. All right. I'll do the black rubbers first. I'm using my Revolution 3 glue for these because I trust it. And I don't trust the Jiwo glue, but I'm going to try it on it. Oh no, I guess I'm not going to use the Jiwo glue today because I'm not doing the other ones yet. So here's the Dignic 64. It's got an interesting, it's got a different color. It's got that green ring around the outside. Different from those. Kind of cool. Dignic 64, black 1.9. Unboxing. Christmas morning. You've gotten Dignic 64 under your tree. There you go. I mean, when you just look at it, the sheets, I don't know if there's really that much difference that you notice compared to other ones. You see the pips? I turned off autofocus on that one today, so that's on me. But it was because it was changing so much. So you can see the pips there. Right. I like to use these. I put them down on the table to keep, just give something clean for the rubber to sit on. I'm going to use one layer of glue on the rubber, or the sponge in this case, and one layer of glue on the blade. I always say you shouldn't be cramped when you're doing assembly, but here I am. The thing's cramping me up, so give me a second. Sorry. Definitely gonna have to work on this configuration for now. So you got this little clipper thing. These sponges. I also don't like these sponges. So I'll be right back. I don't like these sponges. Oh my god. Alright. So the reason I went away is because these are the sponges that come with the Jiwo glue, but they're pretty absorbent, so you put the glue and they get all absorbed in there, and then it doesn't get on the sponge or the blade, right? This is the sponge that comes with the Revolution 3. You cut it into little pieces. I think it just works better to spread it. I was tearing it before, but I realized when you tear it, it's not 100% even, and then you're spending the whole time trying to fix your cuts. So, actually, I'll right my wrongs. First, I'll cut that part even, just to even it up. And then, you can get away with like that much. If you do it big enough where it doesn't soak all the way through, then you can use both sides, right? So, take the clip. I guess I'm not on either screen, right? He's got two cameras in front of him. He's doing things on either. Anyway, oh my gosh. It's like no man's land right in the middle. So, there you go. So, say you use it, and then later on you want to use it again, you would just flip it around. As long as it didn't soak all the way through, it'll be all right. But if it did, I mean, I use a small piece, so I probably wouldn't do that anyway. But anyway, we'll get started with that. I can make it a little more even. Imagine if I just sat here doing little things, but never actually put any glue on any blades or rubbers the whole day. You guys just watch me never get started. Hard to imagine, but it could happen. And then it's on a loop, like 12 hours a day. Just starts over. I might just do one at a time right now, actually. Why not? To get started. So first, the rubber goes on the sponge. When you have a new sponge, new rubber, you can put plenty on because it's gonna soak in. I don't want to put like overdo it, but since I'm only doing one layer, I want to make sure I put enough on. Let's see where everything lines up. All right. So you can see why I wanted to cut that evenly because each time you use it now, it's an even distribution of the glue. Whereas if you tear it like I was doing before, not so even. Revolution 3 glue, like I said, I trust it because I can put it on here. I can spread it around. Maybe I have to add a little extra sometimes, especially depending on my sponge and if it's cooperating or not. But if I add a little extra or don't, or spread it around for a little too long, it doesn't dry super quickly. The sponge absorbed it pretty good, so I'm going to put a little more glue here around the edges, actually. Just because I don't want to get too dry and like scratchy. With other glues, maybe we'll see it sometime with the Duo glue, or I'm not going to keep calling out the Duo glue. The Duo glue in particular, it's not that it's particularly bad. I just like the Revolution 3. Anyway, this doesn't dry quickly, so I can kind of keep going around, make sure it's even without it getting stuck and gunking up. I'm not sure the proper terminology there, but if you've ever used glue and it didn't work, it's probably happened to you. Like I said, everything's slightly more challenging because I have a tripod right in between my arms and face with the one camera. You don't have to worry about the very outsides because that part doesn't go on the blade. But I try to get most of it done. I try to get the bottom a little extra because you're not gonna hit the ball there anyway. But you want to make sure you got it all the way covered and absorbed. Same with the top. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just make sure it goes a little bit further up. Sounds good. Like I said, I can kind of do this with Revolution 3 glue without being scared. But some glues, if I just were to go back over that and it already kind of dried up, it would start balling up a bit. And you don't want that. I should have cut my sponge a little bigger. Also, it seems like this clip that I grabbed is not working as I hoped with this one. Might go see if there's a different one there, but it doesn't matter. So that's that. Now I put the glue on the blade. Same idea. The blade is it's going to absorb quickly and dry quickly, so you can put a decent amount. Don't put like an unbelievable amount, but something within reason. Just make sure it's even. Same idea. I make sure I get it down here to make sure it sticks well, and all the way up to the top. Make sure you get a good amount on the very top edges, outside edges. I mean, make sure it sticks. That's because those are really the only problem areas if you do it right. And just make sure it's even. Revolution 3 glue, the only thing I'll say is if you put too much on, you could have little like air bubbles. You got to smooth out a few times once it starts drying. I mean, not a big deal. That's only if you put too much. So that's pretty even. You can see it. With water-based glue, you wait until it dries clear. That's another reason I like this glue because I know, okay, you see how it looks here? Over time, you'll get to see it gradually dry clear. And then once it's clear, you put them together. In this case, you put it like that there. I'll lay it down just a bit to get started, then I'll use the roller to roll it over and use the scissors to cut later. So, following the strategy. It'd be easier if I didn't have these here on the table. My decorations from other old rackets. It's gonna take a little while, so I'm actually gonna move this here, move that out a little bit, and we'll get started over here. So this is the Dignics 05. I'm putting this on the DHS blade. So. That'll take like 20 minutes to dry probably. Oh yeah, I have this earpiece in my thing so I can listen to the MLTT commentary because I don't want the audio. So like in theory, you could be watching MLTT while you listen to me talk about this. In reality, I don't think anyone's watching at the moment, though there have been a few viewers, and I appreciate you stopping by. Dignics 05, good rubber. It's the successor to tenergy 05. I guess you can't see the tenergy 05. I don't know why I'm messing with, but tenergy 05 it was before. Changed the game. Dignics 05 the follow up, and then there's Dignics 09C, which kind of the next step in the evolution, which more of a game changer, I would say, than Dignics 05. But if you look on most high level players' rackets, you're going to see combinations of Dignics 05 and Dignics 09C. Some people play 05 both sides, 09C both sides, mix and match. And that's most common nowadays. And then with blades, you see a lot of variations of the inner force. Then you got the Viscaria, the Super Viscaria, and the Super ZLCs. And there's new ones like that. So there's always a lot of stuff. You'll look at different blades sometimes. This is Dignics 05. Same idea. I'm going to put plenty of glue on the Dignics 05. That's why I kind of wanted to use the Jiwo glue because I don't want to use all my good glue. But I'll figure that part out. I think for a little while the Revolution 3 was sold out different places, but I'm pretty sure it's available again. So I'll just buy more. It's only like $20 for something around that size, and that's lasted me through a lot of rackets already. So you can see this time I put a little more glue down on the first go, and not only that, but now the sponge is also saturated from putting the glue on that first rubber. So the amount of glue that can be soaked into the sponge has already happened, and any new glue stays on the surface to be applied to the blades and rubbers. You'll see it'll take a little more time to wipe it all in since it's a little bit heavier coat. Cases like this, since there's a lot, I don't mind just making sure it covers as much. Yeah, that's fine. Now we do the blade. Always gotta be careful when you got multiple things going on out here at the same time, not to get them mixed up. At least I do. So here's this. So remove the old glove or rubbers already, and I made sure the surfaces didn't have residue on them from the old glue. And I get here, rub it in. Since there's already plenty of glue on the sponge, it'll be more than enough. This blade's got a little bit, the wood comes up just. I don't think I've ever played with a DHS blade. I played with the Hurricane rubbers, of course, and Gold Art. But I don't think I've ever played the DHS blade. I can tell there's a little bit of wood that came off, and I don't want to mess with it too much. So, good. So, just a couple minutes from now, MLTT will start their last regular season match of the second season MLTT program here. You can see it. Major League Table Tennis. First up will be Adi Serene versus Benedict Ola. Singles 2, Andrew Sal versus Yevgen Proshepa. Singles 3, well, the screen just changed. It looked like it was Kayla Goodwin versus Jiangshun Guo. And then I didn't see singles 4, and I didn't pay attention to doubles. But it should be a fun match. I'm not sure if there's anything left to play for in terms of standings, but there's probably some pride on the line. Spinners, not had a great season points wise or performance wise, but it sure was fun watching Lubomir Kostic play. And the Revolution have been all right. They had their moments. Anyway, you can see the blade's dry here. That's getting drier. This is not dry. This is not dry. I'll do the same thing I did there. Move this up, but I'll move this over a little bit. No glue. So I got those ready. Sometimes you just gotta wait with assembly. Make sure I do things right. Dial, the dignics 64, VHS with the dignics 05. Just gotta sit back and relax. Go watch some MLTT. Okay, so it says I got 2 likes, so I appreciate it. Thanks for coming by. Sorry if I didn't actually do any assembly while you were here. I tend to drag my feet. But the MLTT match is about to start, so good timing. You can be on the computer or watching on TV, watch that, hang out with some assembly. Not sure what else to tell you. Oh, so MLTT season 2, supposedly they're going to do doubles, but they're not going to use the white line as like a reference for serving, so you can serve wherever you want in doubles. Should be interesting. Kind of a rebellious take on doubles. They said they were bored of doubles because the returner knows where the serve's going to go, and they didn't think it made sense always serving from one side. So either serving from both sides, or in their case, they've decided just serve wherever, from wherever, and then play it out. So it should open up some new dynamic, or it will open up a lot of new dynamics in doubles. They're getting started. Benedict Ola is in the first match. He has not had the season I think a lot of people expected. I think Pitchford also started slow and then kind of came through. It's hard to get 3-0s on people, but Pitchford got mostly 2-1s at least at worst. Ola, on the other hand, has been struggling a little more. But when he plays well, he's playing, of course, really well. I don't know. I think it's hard to maintain the level sometimes traveling around in the format. This one's almost ready. Adi Serene rated 2641 spin decks. Benedict Ola 2753. Just looking around to see what I can do to occupy myself while the glue dries. I wonder how hard it would be to have a remote control mechanism that throws the balls to the server each time before each point. Like you could either just press a button and it shoots it, or like some type of sensor, or the player requests it. I don't know. Voice activated maybe. So this one's getting there. You can still see it a little bit. I can see on the stream. So a little there, a little there. That's where it still has to dry. That's that one. I'm gonna do these rackets all with the Revolution 3. I'll buy some more glue because I want to use that from now on. And that's that. I found the table tennis glue is kind of tough on the return boards. I've been making it absorbs. So I tried spray adhesive. That didn't work so well. But rubber cement on the return board works. Just need to get a better brush to apply it. Definitely recommend practicing with a return board if you're capable of and can make one or have access to one. So let me know if you're watching MLTT. Tell me what you think. Or let me know what you think. Or tenergy, or dignics, or BHS. If you're here, feel free to say hi in the chat. If you don't feel like it, that's okay too. Right, so now I gotta try and assemble this one around it. It's close. Not quite there, but it's almost there. If you're just joining me, thank you. Let me know if you have any questions. It's probably not gonna be that exciting around here, if I'm being completely honest. Benedicola is leading 8-4, game one. Yeah, I'm sitting near my hands. Ricky Bobby don't know how to do my hands. Benedicola 11-4 in game one versus Adi Serena. So pretty easy for him there. Maybe, there's not a lot of pressure on anyone here, really. I think the seasons are determined. Princeton is not going. Oh, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. Pretty sure it's Carolina Gold Rush and Chicago win. And then Bay Area Blasters and Texas Smash. We'll see if Texas Smash can repeat. They won last time. All right. So the biggest thing when you're putting the rubber on, you got to make sure you have the space to put it on, and then also to use the roller without rolling over other stuff. So keep a clear space. I recommend not having multiple blades on the same table with rubbers and cameras set up. But sometimes you gotta do it. I try to put the roller like trying to get a good viewpoint on it, kind of thing. So for the first side, you can just push your blade all the way up against the edge of the table or whatever, and it sits flat. So that makes it easy to do the first one. And when you have new rubbers, you want to put it flush with the handle and right in the middle. So butterfly gives you that little dot in the middle. I think I've showed that before. I'm not going to see it, but between the two wings in the very middle, there's a little dot. This is the Dignics 64 going on the Axiom Solo. So I got started, hold it down. I didn't quite get it all the way to the handle, but pretty close. As long as it's close, it's okay. And sometimes if you put it like slightly too closely handled, and it kind of pushes up there, and that's not good. So it's better to have like slight gap there. But I mean, that's pretty good. I think anyone, not too much of a gap, right? Yeah, it looks good. Got it rolled down there. And same idea. So when there's no glue on this side yet, no rubber, you push it down. Something I discussed about recently was before I used to cut it like right away after doing it, but now I've realized it's better to let it set there for a second. And I mean set in terms of glue, not sit, pronounced like set. Let it set there. But Tiago Montero has been kind of operating as the coach of the spinners. If anyone ever watches a stream and notices like audio problems or something, let me know. I don't know like where all the audio comes from sometimes. I don't know if it's recording from here or from my computer. We got that one on. This one's still drying. You can see it. The sooner I cut this, the sooner I can start on the other side, but we're not in a rush. It's singles one. I got a whole MLTT match to watch while I do it. These are the scissors I use. I've been using for a while. They're not sharp. They're not quite sharp enough anymore. And for example, DHS hurricane rubbers, those are hard sponges. That's kind of hard to cut through with these nowadays. But these tenergy and dignics are not so crazy. Well, Adi Serene got out to a good start in game two. Benedict Ola seems like he's playing well, so we'll see. Adi's up 5-4. Mm-hmm. So, got the Dignics 64 on here. Waiting to cut it. The reason I'm not cutting it quite yet, I like to let it sit there for a bit, so then when you cut it and it pulls on it, it's a little more in place. It's not pulling the rubber up at the edges and anything like that, because then later on, it might be easier for the rubber to come up if you hit the table or something, if it's not fully set. Now, I have had rackets where it peels up a little bit in certain spots, and I started going like this, where I would peel up the rubber just enough to see like how far to go, and then I'd pour a bit in, and I let it sit there. And before pressing anything, I go like this and this, and the glue kind of runs to fill in all the parts where it needs it, and then press it. Make sure it, no bubbles or anything, but then press it real good and press it down and get rid of the excess, and then hold it down like that. So you can kind of spot fix the assembly if you have to. Sometimes that's better because, like I said, if you have a glue, it's gonna cause you trouble if you remove the rubber, and you only have a little problem. Sometimes you'll remove it for a little problem, and you make the problem much worse. So if you can fix it just by squeezing a little extra glue, like say it comes up a little bit here or something, you can do that. It's not a big deal. Just avoid putting like way too much glue and then letting it sit in there not flat. That's the only thing. All right, this one's just about ready. You can see there's still. I'll show the camera. Let's see if you can see it because that kind of helps you get an idea. You can see a little bit. You see how it's still just a little white in the bottom right side, but you can't see it that much. So it's almost ready. Let's hope I don't mess anything up. Just trying to show the camera that. Adi Serene's up 9-6 in game two in the MLTT. I definitely recommend going check it out. Sometimes turning on the fan in the room helps the glue dry quicker too, I'll admit. I don't like to sit there and do the blow dryer, but you could. Definitely, if you stick it in front of a fan or an air vent, it dries more quickly. I could definitely have already cut this. I might cut this now. All right, so that's almost ready, but I'm giving it like one more minute. We'll cut the rubber now. So you got it here. Got the scissors. Tack it from this angle. Takes a few cuts to get started around here, and then once you get the handle out of the way, you just go around. You try to cut it close, but you don't want to cut it so close that it's not covering the blade fully, but not leaving so much overlap that it's going to get caught on the table. Or like if it overhangs too much, then you put side tape on it. It doesn't really fit properly. And if you cut too close, not only do you risk cutting it too short, but you can cut into your blade on accident. It happens. I've done it. So try not to do that. The blade doesn't like being cut by scissors, surprisingly. There's that. dignics 64 coming at you. So you can see there, looks good. I mean, yeah, I think it looks pretty good. 1 out of 4 of the important rubbers. That's how I look at it. I don't have a designated trash area at the moment. I don't want to clutter up my space. So we'll get started there in a second with that. This is done, so I can glue that on now too. Get the roller tube. This is Dignics 05, like I said before. For the first side, when you only don't have rubber on the other side, you just take your blade, stick it there, and line up the top of the handle with the edge of your table to make sure it's square. Butterfly gives you that dot in between the two wings. So one little thing I need to get. There's like one little bit of old glue that I guess I missed. Anyway, get it lined up. In this case, you get that little butterfly dot lined up right with the middle of the handle. Oopsies. Yeah, just started there. So that was an example of why I use Revolution 3 glue. You can see I just for a split second there dropped it a little off, but it didn't stick or anything, so I was able to grab it before it held, and it doesn't cause problems with Revolution 3 glue. All right. So now that you can see, like on the very edge of the blade, there's a little thing you can see the difference or where the edge is, but overall it looks good. Like I say, that's why I don't mind doing extra racket assembly practice, because the more times you assemble the rackets, you have little problems here and there, and you get used to dealing with them. You don't stress out too much. I mean, really, you can also start over. Just depends how much of a pain it'll be, depending on how the glue reacts. So, same idea. I'm going to leave it there just a bit before I cut it. Get started on the second side over here. It'd be easier if I didn't have these all here. All right. So if you're watching, let me know if you have any questions about any of this stuff. I gotta slide my couch back together again. Sitting in between the two pieces, so it keeps sliding apart. I'm on this side. I'm on that side. All right. Cut that in a second once I'm done doing it. So here we got a tenergy 05 red 2.1 made in Japan. Butterfly. You know the name. tenergy 05 game changer. Change the game. tenergy 05. I wasn't there when they changed the game, by the way, so I'm just taking other people's word for it. Tenergy 05 butterfly, orange sponge compared to the dignics, more red sponge. Got some numbers on the back. 2.1 millimeter. A little bit of Japanese. So it should be a pretty absorbent sponge. Let's see. Nice. Since I'm only doing one layer, I'm definitely being generous with the glue upon first application. If I was going to do, sometimes I do 2 layers on the rubber. So then I would just do like a lighter, I mean a normal coat, let's say, but it absorbs pretty well in there because they're new sponges. So then the second one, let's see, that was that piece of wood I was talking about from that DHS blade that got stuck in my sponge. Found it. I don't know, I'm kind of like a broken record in general, but also when I'm assembling rackets. So if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about, let me know. Otherwise, it's just gonna be like playing my greatest hits on repeat. So you can see the sponge is pretty saturated at this point from doing all this gluing. I definitely want to get some out. So yeah, you can see this absorbed the glue a little quicker than the other ones. The softer sponge. A lot of times the softer sponge absorbs more. And it dries quickly too. You can already see that bottom part dry, but I'll do a little more. Just for fun. I like to make sure that part sticks. And you're not going to hit the ball down there. That's good enough. Yeah, this one I got to make sure I don't accidentally put the wrong rubbers on the wrong places. And then also you can kind of adjust to it. If you didn't put like epic amount of glue on the rubber sponge, you can put a little more on the blade and vice versa. You can get away without doing one or the other, but in general, that's common. At least one layer on the rubber, one layer on the blade. Let them dry, put them together. Some people do 2 or more on the rubber. The more layers you do, it gives you a little extra bounce, I guess. You figure you're putting like a few layers of material. It's a little bit elasticy, but it's also more weight, more potential absorption into your blade for the long term if you're doing it a lot. But you can see I kind of put a little bit too much maybe. Not a big deal. Put a little extra because, like I said, it absorbed in that other sponge. I see someone wrote something. Let me check what you wrote. Oh, hey John, what's up? No, I definitely don't use booster on these things. I've tried booster on a Hurricane 3 before, just because that's like the way most people play with the Hurricane 3. But with Dignics 05, Dignics 9C, of course, some people boost it because they feel like it. But in general, these are made to not be boosted. There's probably some treatment from the factory too that gives it extra liveliness in the beginning. I have some boosters, so maybe I'll do a video sometime on the booster. But really, with the booster, you just kind of brush it on, and then you wait 12 to 24 hours, and you can do another layer if you want, or put it on then. And depending on how much you put on, the rubber kind of curls up or domes up. I have some around here I could grab at some point. Mainly, booster is important for the harder Chinese sponges like Hurricane 3 because the sponge is kind of dead, and then the booster gives it more tension and elasticity by expanding the sponge. But not for these. Some people do it. Maybe you could try it when a rubber's old, or 09C, some people do it. But for Dignics and Tenergy, I think it's plenty lively already. They're fast and bouncy. So this is drying. That's gonna take a little while. So I'll leave it like that. And this I'll cut. I appreciate your question, John. It's another player from our club, my teammate for our upcoming team competition. So same idea, cutting it. Change your grip a few times on the handle. You can kind of see why I like to wait a little bit before cutting it because as I cut, that excess rubber weighs down on the blade a bit. That's good. I cut it a little bit close here. That's not a big deal. Scissors, you don't get the perfect cut, but you get a good enough one. And most people think it's more than enough. So that's pretty good. So we'll get going with the next side now. Other side also didn't so 5. On the subject of booster, the booster lasts like a little while, but then either you kind of put a new sheet on and boost it, or reboost an old rubber. Some people have different thoughts about that. So kind of have a change in playing characteristics over time with a boosted rubber. Also, kind of time consuming. And I mean, if you're playing with Hurricane 3 and that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. For me, I was also reading, maybe the chemicals are a little bit dangerous. So living like in an apartment, for example, if you have, that's interesting. The top sheet of this one kind of feels a bit different. It's a big spot. But what I was saying, so you have to leave boosters to dry for like 12 hours, 24 hours. And so if you just have that like drying in your nearby environment and you're breathing it in all the time, maybe that's not good. I don't know. Obviously, there's some type of chemical reaction going on to make the sponges do what they do with the boosting. Last time I tried with a Hurricane 3 just to see because as normal, we're boosting depending on how many layers you put on, the timing, type of booster, whatever, you get different results. So the people who use it and play with it, they have to be in tune with knowing just what works for them, what makes sense. A little more glue. This actually be, I guess, the last gluing of the day. I was expecting to do more rackets, but because of the side or the sizing things, but I'll check. I see my friend got back to me. So once again, good amount of glue. And this one, so I'll make sure I use this right amount, or I'll get this glue on there spread well, and then the excess I'll use there with the goal that I don't leave too much extra glue in the sponge uh, for later. Because you're throwing it away anyway. You can reuse it like this as long as it stays wet. You just keep going, but once you stop and the sponge dries out, you can't really use it again later because it won't be flat or uniform. It won't work the way you want it to. I mean, I'm sure people do reuse them, but if you have more sponges, it's better. That's why I like to use both sides of the sponge each time. I flip it around when I can, so then I get 2 uses out of each sponge sponge piece, let's say, because these sponges were cut off that big piece. And with the spreading, you kind of can do as much or as little as you want. Well, I don't. I could stop like 20 seconds. earpiece is falling out. They're talking about the MLTT Championship weekend on there. That'd be really neat to go to, I think, in Philadelphia, April 12th to 13th. If you go eat a Philly cheesesteak for me, definitely one of my preferred foods, let's say. All right, so that's glued. Now it's just this. We got our sponge here. Let's see how much excess we have on here. It might be enough to do the blade completely. No, this is a dry blade, and actually, I wasn't carrying a ton of excess. It looks like so. Well, yeah. See, the sponge just isn't quite cooperating in my. Put a little bit extra. So if there was a little more, I wouldn't need to add any, but it's just enough where you don't want to risk. On the blade, it's more important to have enough glue because it absorbs quickly and dries out quickly, so you can put a little extra on if you have to. But if you don't put enough, it starts to get scratchy and catches on certain spots, and maybe it's just better to have a little extra. Then. I'd rather have a little excess at the end after doing the blade than not have enough and have to either add a little extra, which doesn't work quite as well as having enough in the first place, or just sticking with it. If you do watch, let me know what you think about like the angle of the assembly, if it makes sense. What you think about a camera pointing at my face the whole time. Things like that. Like I said, if you need table tennis equipment, check the description of this video or my YouTube profile, and you can go to Megaspin. And if you use my affiliate link, I'd appreciate it. And if you have questions about equipment or whatever, happy to give you some info. But you can email Megaspin directly and ask for equipment advice, and there's an equipment expert who will give you good stuff based on what you tell them. So the more info you give them, the better recommendation you get. All right, so we're waiting for this one to dry. That'll dry second, of course, because I just finished it. Now this one, it's getting there. The orange sponge, you can kind of see the residue still of the glue, still drying. Now we're waiting here. Let's see what the situation is. All right, so I'll put the Roxas at. All right, so I'm gonna put that Roxas 7 on also. This one, right? You got this one. Yeah, it's still singles too. We got plenty of time. I'm gonna be sitting here watching with me. So I'm gonna finish this one, or I'm gonna glue that one. Then I'll put some glue on this one to wait. Then I'll finish that one. I'll do this one. I think I am curious to test out the G-Will glue on one blade. So you already heard about my risk management techniques, such as using my G-Will glue on the Roxas 7. And then, actually, right now I don't have any extra blades, so I can't really put the extra rubbers on anything. I've already assembled or configured all the extra blades I have. I'm gonna double check. Maybe I'll do a stream sometime where I show the different blades and rubbers I have, and then compare it to, for example, the website photos and descriptions and reviews, and we can talk about that. And give you my feedback, and we can look at other people's feedback and see what's right, uh, anything like that. So, like once again, I know two people liked this at one point, and I really appreciate it. Anyone else who comes across it, please like it if you like it, and if you don't like it, then give it a thumbs down. Go for it. So Andrew Styles playing Yevgen Pershepa. It's game two. Pershepa won game one, 11-9. in their previous encounter. I'm pretty sure they already played recently, and Yevgen Pershepa. I'm pretty sure he won, but maybe he was playing someone else. Either way, Yevgen's kind of like a solid established pro, so it's a tough challenge, but good experience for Andrew South. Like I said, so we're waiting. That's a tenergy 05, putting that on there. That's a dignics 05, putting that on there. If you have any, oh, thank you for that extra like. Whoever heard my call and gave me that one, that makes me happy. I appreciate it. Cheers to you. This is a Ghost, not our official sponsor, but they're tasty. Actually, they're not all tasty. I found a flavor that's definitely not tasty. Don't drink the Swedish fish Ghost. I have a few left, and it's like such a chore to even drink these things. They're so bad. But orange cream is really good. I'm not recommending drinking energy drinks. I'm just saying, don't get the Swedish fish one. I could rank them for you. If someone wanted to know the Ghost flavor ranking, power rankings, I'll give them to you. Right? But I'm not going to talk about it too much because I'm not trying to get people to drink a bunch of energy. Probably not good for you. Not good for me either. Whatever. So Yevgen won game two, 11-5. Revolution's up 4-1. Yeah, it's incredibly likely or possible that Revolution will just run away with this one, and that's that. That's how they end the regular season, but we'll see. All right, if you take a look, if you're interested in assembly, I'm not sure if people come here for assembly, but this one's getting drier, so that's why you see the spot is smaller for the glue, and then this one, the glue is less dry. I just put it on more recently, and I put plenty on, so it's still pretty wet. Once it clears up, that's when it's ready to put them on. I put one coat of glue on each surface that you see. You want to wait for table tennis glue to dry, because that's how it bonds. If you put it on when it's wet, it'll still dry. It'll still like stick eventually by drying, but it can be uneven and doesn't work as well. It's meant to be put on uh, once it dries, right? That's kind of the thing. So like I said, Revolution 3 glue, you can buy it. Niggas can buy it wherever. This is the normal viscosity. They have three viscosities, but I've only seen normal, I think. And that just means like this is the most liquidy of the three. This one's medium viscosity. That means more viscous, high, etc. It's VOC free, but there is a little bit of a smell to Revolution 3 glue, I'll admit. So like an ammonia smell or something. I don't get too close to it. It's not bad though, actually. There's plenty of things in table tennis that smell much worse. Like some of the Chinese sponges on pitch rubbers or just the cheaper ones smell so bad. So if you're watching and you have any questions about stuff, feel free to ask. Uh, John asked a question about booster, so no booster needed for this stuff. You can boost Hurricane 3. If people want to know about booster, I can show you. I mean, I have it somewhere. I'll show you the booster. I don't feel like getting it. So, but if someone says, "Oh, show us the booster," I'll get it. So I have Haifu Moon National Yellow Booster. It's like one of the good boosters I was reading about. I don't know so much about them. Falco Tempo Long is more common if you're going to do it for a European sponge or something. Andrew Sal's leading the game three, but we'll see if he can make it uh, to the end of the game to get at least a point on the board for his team. Krishepa with a very classic style. So you can also see the blades dry much quicker, right? Like those were covered in glue also, but they're both practically dry. This one's getting close. This one's got plenty more to go. I'm gonna glue that one, and then I'll start messing with that Roxa 7 and Curl P4 TSP. So it's kind of funny. Well, you wouldn't find it in a stand-up comedy routine, but you could say it's funny. That's TSP Curl P4. This is Victus Curl P5 because Victus bought TSP at some point, so that means this has been around on this blade for a little while. The TSP one, or at least it was bought a while ago, and then Victus is doing these now. So I'm not doing the Victus one today. I don't think though. I'm just putting this Roxa 7 on it. Probably 3, 4 more minutes on that one. As always, like I said before, I mean, you could do it before it dries completely, but there's really no reason to. Yevgen Bersheva has a really good backhand topspin. So he did his backhand serve. First time set of his backhand topspin. Next time he got the return into the net. What's Andrew sound? End of the season matches, you're getting some playing time for people who weren't playing in the regular season as much, maybe. Or coaches are trying out different lineups, different strategies, right? Chicago Wind coach, he's been putting Mo Jong against the men lately in the singles because she's doing so well. He figures she can do better against the male players on their team than their female player can do against the male players on his team. Sorry to the one viewer who left. I know I was supposed to glue something by now. This one's about done. So for our one viewer who's currently here, I'll glue this one. And my apologies to the person who left just recently. You're missing out big time. So this Zion blade doesn't have any markings on anything, so you can't quite see where the center is. No biggie. And then, like I said, what I was saying before, so now there's a rubber on this other side, so I can't just simply stick it up to the edge of the table. It doesn't stay flat like that. So really, just kind of do your best to get it even there, and then you just gotta eyeball this one a little better. Put that there. I was enjoying the commentary of MLTT as kind of amusing something they were discussing. If you're not watching MLT, go for it. So butterfly's got a little dot in the middle. Like I said, I got a tripod right in front of my face, so I'm trying to figure out. No, I always try and get it lined up there at the handle, but I don't want it to go down too far. I don't want too much of the rubber to stick to the blade yet until I get the roller on it. And the first time I roll it down, I'm not putting like enough pressure to stretch the rubber out. I'm just making sure it's firmly on the blade without air getting in there, but I'm not stretching the rubber at all. And then once I get it down, then I can roll it over harder. You don't have to worry about it because it's already stuck to the blade. But for example, if you lay it down, you don't want to let it get like to here and then roll too much, or let it get down too far because then it has like a line or a crease a little bit. Try to get like this much. Just gently put it there and then roll it down. Actually, I don't put it down too far in the beginning because sometimes you do have to pull back up. And if you only had this part stick, then if something goes wrong, it's not a big deal because the ball's not going to hit there anyway. So, got that. Let me. And also, if you see like little imperfections when you do it, but it's really close, just leave it. Because sometimes the glue dries and then it looks fine, or you clean the surface of the rubber and it looks fine because sometimes it's just the dust or the reflection, right? So you can see this one. Good. I'll leave it there like that. That's dignics 64. That's tenergy 05. Let that flat. Let that sit there for a bit. Let's humor ourselves with the Roxy 7 on the Hunter Venom blade with the Curl P4, and I'm gonna use a little G-Weld glue. This is a new one. I don't want to use a new one. Let me see. I think I have an old one. Sorry. Actually, this is the right one. I don't know. Whatever. This is the G-Well Hydrotech glue. If you go look at reviews online, they're mixed to say the most, I guess. Like I said, I've used it before. Maybe I'm unfairly criticizing it because I had an issue with it one time, but the issue was kind of my fault for taking the rubber right off. But basically, I used this, and I noticed I had put it on wrong, and it was like a little mistake, like I said, borderline. But I decided, okay, I'll take off the rubber and redo it. Then when I took it off, this glue had already, I don't know, it's just gotten bad. and I couldn't get it off the sponge like easily, so I had to do multiple layers of Revolution 3 glue, let it dry completely, and then peeled it all up. And it's very time consuming. And I fixed it, but it wasn't fun. So these are the sponges that come with this. This actually works well because we can kind of compare a little bit how things work. Isn't it fun? All right, so that's this one. Actually, maybe these sponges are better. I don't know. Maybe I've just convinced myself the other way. I used to use these more. I think these come with other glues too. Butterflies come with like black ones. Same thing. Let's try it. Uh, I'm just gonna move this out of the equation for now because that's practical. I just need to cut that one, but I don't feel it. I'll just let it wait. I don't want to clutter things too much. There's this blade. There's the. Like I said, we can see it's gonna fit, but it's gonna not. It's not gonna be quite as big. So I have to do a good job of centering it when I put it back on. Right. It has to be. This is actually a good thing to do, right? When you're gonna move a rubber from another one, you gotta make sure how it's gonna line up. So you put it. So that'll be fine. And actually, before you do this, even sometimes you could set the blades next to each other and say, "Is this gonna fit or not?" When I switch the rubbers over, save yourself the time, like we saw with that Stego one, where the Stego blade face is so big, trying to move this rubber from that one, it looks silly. So I'm gonna wait on that one until we get another rubber or something, I think. But I'll do this one. So without further ado, the G-Low glue. All right, so it's more liquidy, let's say, drops out. I don't know. See, since I'm not unfamiliar with it, let's say, I don't know just how much I need, but this will be good. Most of the water-based glues are not that different. I don't know. For some reason, I've gotten on a Revolution 3 glue kick. Right? You keep hearing me talk about it, telling everyone about it, but it's not like it's. Spreads nicely. I'd say that was the right amount. Table tennis glue is nice because if it gets on the rubber, you just let it dry and you can rub it off with your fingers. I mean, the like top sheet. The sponge depends. Anyway, this is enough. Like I said, this glue dries quicker, so I have to be careful, right? There's more of like a time limit on me messing around. I can't just sit here and go over it a million times with this glue. All right, that's enough. So when you have a glue that you know dries quickly, you look for it to be like good enough, but you don't sit there and try and keep gluing it until it or spreading it until it's perfect because eventually it'll dry up and then it starts to ball up and then you're in more trouble than you were if you had just left it be a little bit uneven. And same idea when you do the blade with a glue that dries quickly, put a little bit extra on because, like I said, it's much worse if your glue dries on the blade or dries out and you get you have to spread around the blade. Make sure that that's true. Not going to cover the whole thing, but it's fine. The glue will dry and you can figure it out. All right, that's good enough. So resist the urge to continue spreading glue unless you're really familiar with how that glue works. So we'll see. We'll judge the GWO glue very harshly. Just kidding. We'll see how it does. Maybe it'll do well, and we'll start using it again, so I don't have to use all my whatever that is, Revolution 3. All right, this is just about ready. There's just a little bit of white glue left. You can't really see it. So I'm gonna cut this one first in the meantime. So it's always a little bit challenging to get the first part started around that because the handle's in your way. Get it started, take your time, cut it little by little. The sharper your scissors are, the better. Then it doesn't pull on the rubber so much, but it doesn't matter. You put most people put side tape on anyway, so you the very edges kind of get covered as long as it's in the right neighborhood. I guess I gotta make sure that that extra sponge doesn't fall on the other blade. All right, same thing. I did it on both. I guess I cut a little too aggressively in the starting point. So that's something for me to keep in mind for future one. I cut that one a little too sharp there. But anyway, it looks good. Now you see it. I just want to press it down a little bit. So once you cut them, you can do a few things. You can leave them; they're fine. Just whatever. You can even play with them more or less right away. It's not a big deal. But you can put like something flat on them, like a book, piece of wood, and then a little bit of weight. Not a ton. And you can leave it for a while. Some people leave it overnight, more books or something, or wait hour or two, just enough to get it set so it can dry. Up to you. You can experiment with different things. Some people say if you put too much weight on for too long, it'll condense the pip structure, could damage it long term. I don't know. I haven't noticed anything like that. So that's that one. That's the Xiome Solo Blade 7 ply with dignics 64, black 1.9, tenergy 05, red 2.1. That's one. I'll show both cameras because each one has a little different view to it, it seems. Looks pretty good. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I don't put side tape on until like later on or the next day because I think letting it breathe around the edges helps the glue dry evenly and it goes further in quicker, let's say. And then also sometimes when you put the side tape's kind of strong, and if it pulls to the rubbers in a weird way while they still aren't fully set, it could move them around. Both they don't sound ideal to me. Anyway, get this out of here. If anyone's been counting the so's in any ways today, let me know. This one's ready. You always want the roller box like close enough so you can grab it, but not in your own way. I guess, like I said, you always want stuff out of the way so you can roll it properly. This one I can do right in front of me. This is the Dignics 05. Just had to. Always lay it down gently in the beginning. So even if it lays down a little bit flat, like further than you hope it to, as long as it's gentle, then when you roll it, it'll be right. And you roll it the first time firm enough to get it down, but not so much that you're pulling the rubber forward. And then once it's on, roll it as much as you want. I mean, technically, you could check, but like I said, lately, I look, and I'm not going to pull a rubber off unless there's a real issue. Otherwise, you just got to hope it figures itself out a little bit. So when you did a good job, it will. When you play with it, they don't affect it too much, but unless you really know what you're doing, you run the risk if you take your rubber off that you're going to have to either put a lot of time to get it going again, or you're going to have to get a new one or something. All right, so let that one dry a little more. Looks good though. Um, so something that's cool about Megaspin is Megaspin has lots of different brands. So if you want an assembled racket from different brands, you can kind of mix and match a lot of them. It has like an assembly tool, let's say, that shows you which rackets and rubbers can be assembled together. It's all on the website. But a lot of places offer assembly, right? If you go to Butterfly directly, they'll assemble a butterfly racket for you. But if you want various types of things, maybe you want butterfly rubber on the forehand on a Zion blade, for example, and then things like that. I don't know. So assemble for you is what I'm saying. More options. So I'm letting that dry. Let's observe and judge the G-Will glue. That G-Will glue. Never know what it's gonna do. So that looks like it's gonna need another few minutes. I can see it. I don't want to mess with it too much because it's already bent a bit. So if I mess with it while it's drying, it could make the glue not be quite as even. You can see this blade's got like little things from the previous glue, but it's not a big deal. Professor Jinshin Wong, the professor, and Koyo Kanemitsu are a really good doubles team. They're playing against Serene and Cole. They're up to, but they've been playing well this season. I like watching them play together. They were playing music on MLTT. That's why I bobbed my head for a moment. Like I said, I'm listening to the commentary here. You can see it. I can hear it. Go to the MLTT YouTube to watch. They're the doubles. So that's kind of doubles is like the halfway part of each team match. Some of the doubles is fun for sure. I don't know. I think that idea they have about removing the middle line, restrictions, that could make it more fun. I like their innovative ideas. Let's see what they can do with it. Anyway, so let's see how that Geo glue works out. Putting it back in the bag for now. Let me double check. So if you're watching, let me know if you have any questions about table tennis equipment, Major League Table Tennis, World Table Tennis, WTT. Uh, I can point you in the direction of the answers, maybe. It's pretty close, right? So let's look. The blade's dry. Rubber's dry. So this dried quickly. Like I said, that's kind of why I like the Revolution 3. Maybe it takes a little more time than you would want sometimes, I guess. It's possible. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to agree to that. But this dries quicker, right? So if you're in a hurry or you just like quicker drying glues, I could see that. Sometimes the climate you live in makes a difference too. I've heard, for example, people like the Nitaku fine zip glue or the DHS glue, but here, every time I use it, it dries up so quickly that it's almost it's unusable for me. I'm not going to use it ever again. But maybe if you're in a colder climate, people said it matters. I don't know. I'm not sure how that could affect it considering I'm inside with air conditioning. All right, let's put this Roxy 7 on here. It's not going to be perfect. We have to accept that going in. Like I said, I remember I don't have to move it up much at all. I shouldn't move it. I just have to make sure I don't put it directly centered because it was a little bit centered to the right. Yeah, this is going to be a tougher one to get right. Let's see. So I moved it up a little bit too much, probably. Yeah, it's my fault. So, whatever. Like I said, we did the other one's perfect. This was a moving from another blade to another one, so it couldn't be perfect. It was pretty good. This actually got more hitting area here. That's what I was hoping for, because you're not going to hit so much here. Oh. You can see. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I wasn't going to be happy with the result no matter what. It doesn't look as pretty as the other one. But I'll fix it. So I'll let that one sit for a second. Cut this one. And we'll try not to cut the first cut as close to the other one because I messed that up already twice. So the difference is instead of being angled this way, I'm going to make sure I'm more angled this way. Sometimes you can give yourself a little extra space then too if you're like scared. So the Princeton doubles team, they went 9-0 on the weekend, meaning they didn't lose a single game all weekend. That's good. That's Jinshin Wong and Koyo Kanemitsu. All right, there and there. I think it's pretty good. I made it. You can see I left a little extra, actually extra there, so I could go back and cut it closer if I wanted, but I'm not gonna worry about it for now. So this one turned out good. I like it. I mean, you could try. Like I said, that's the nature of it. You can kind of keep looking at things. Say, oh, I could do this a little better. I could cut this a little more. I could do that or this, but it's definitely no big deal down there. So leave that like this. That's dignics 05. Dignics 05 on the DHS Power G. I'll leave that there for now. This one, I'm going to cut the top just a bit to make it fit a little better. All right. So that one, I mean, whatever. You can hear my displeasure with it. So that's curl P4, Roxy 7. I think that's all the assembly for today. So if you're here just for the assembly, you've made it to the end. Uh, I mean, okay, I could take this, I could put this back around, but like I said, I'm gonna wait on the side tape before then, so I'm not putting the side tape on quite yet. This one, I'll tell you, Roxa 7 kind of works with everything and everywhere on both sides, and I always felt like when I was playing with my Viscaria, if I had Roxa 7 both sides, that was my most solid setup at that time. I felt confident with it, deal with all the different styles, so kind of the Roxa 7 wasn't going to let me down in one area or another. Whereas some of the other ones, you never know. Organizing it a little bit. So we got that. Anyway, I'd like to thank John for asking the one question of the day. It's a very important question. We appreciate all questions and likes and views. So thank you. If you're watching, please like if you enjoyed it, and if you did not enjoy it, then don't like it. But you can still watch if you want. Maybe you like watching things you don't enjoy. Anyway, that's three. Well, two rackets fully assembled, one half replaced. I'm not sure what to do. Well, we'll get a different rubber for this one, I think, at some point, because it's not gonna fit on there. Some blades have the bigger faces, right? It's just how they are. They have oversized blade face, so when you switch the rubbers around, they don't fit how you hope. All right, the GWO glue, it didn't give us any problems, so I think GWO glue works well for what it. You glue something on, you leave it, you're fine. If there's an error or you have to re-glue it, maybe you'll run into a problem, maybe you won't. But I think you probably run into a problem no matter what. With table tennis glue, uh, I mean, I'm gonna sit here for a second because MLTT singles 3. So we got singles 3, singles 4, and the golden game. It's the last MLTT of the season, so I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna sit here and talk about it periodically. Dignics 05 is on here. Tenergy 05 is here. That here. Boom. Put the curl P5 there. Looking good. We used our Revolution 3 glue over here. We used our G glue over there. clean up my work station, also known as my couch. So right now it's Youngshun Guo versus Kayla Goodwin. Kayla Goodwin trains in Florida, in our area, in Tampa sometimes. A good player. I think she's on the national team now and competing internationally for Team USA. And she's getting a chance here in MLTT. So Major League Table Tennis definitely fulfilling their goals of giving more opportunities to young players in the United States and giving them something to play for. You know, Kanat Ja, he had to leave the U.S. to really get those competitive opportunities, and now MLTT is building them here in the U.S. So great job, MLTT. You know, I think it's been another amazing season. I think season two was such a huge step up in terms of the talent pool, but also I like the service clocks, like the new uniforms. Got the Crocs uniform, right? Looking good. I actually almost couldn't find it. I was worried I lost it. Got the MLTT hat program. I told you guys I was going to show you this program forever. I think today we'll retire this program, and I'll have to go to another. Uh, I'll have to go to another event in person because I can't. Because you see, this is the last stop on the program. The program expires today, so that's that. Let me go to our checklist here real quick. What did we do? We put the new rubbers on this one. Check mark. We put the new rubbers on this one. Check mark. So check mark. Check mark. Did it. But we didn't do the Stiga Master. So 3 out of 4, not bad. 75%. It's a passing grade. It wouldn't cut it for an actual test grade, let's say. But in here, you do what you do. Anyone watching MLTT? Anyone who's listening to me currently watching MLTT? Kayla's got the lead here. Let's see. Oh, no, a net ball. Okay, brutal. 9-9 in game one. Let's see. Kayla took a game off Lily the other day, Lily Zhang. So taking a game off Jiangshun Guo would be really good because Guo is really tough. She gave a lot of players a lot of trouble. Oh, it's a golden point. All right, 10-10. Kayla Goodwin's got the serve here versus Jiangshun Guo. So let's see. Come on. Nice. She serves kind of out to the wide side. Kayla's left-handed, and Jiangshun tried to lift it, and it went long. So she won with her serve off an error. Good job. 11-10, Kayla. She gets the game. That's big. I wonder if someday Kayla will play for the Crocs. Let's see. Oh, I can't put the ghost on the table until they become an official sponsor, which they aren't. I don't know if anyone was unclear on that point, but I've made myself clear. All right, give me 2 minutes. I'll be back. Game two starting between Goodwin and Guo. I'm back. Sorry. I was gonna show you. So these rackets are done, of course. So I'm not gonna assemble anymore right now, unless I find something else. But ask me questions. I'm gonna show you my rackets. So let's see. This is my main racket. It's the Butterfly Harimoto Super ALC. Oh man, there it is. And now I have dignics 09C both sides. That's what I'm playing with. And I plan to stick with it. I like how it works. I got to get used to it, but I got to hit a little harder on the backhand to compensate for the lack of bounce, and I got to close. I'm going to say I have to close so much. I just have to be a little more, uh, everything coordinated. I'm a little too wild, stretched out, off balance, let's say. So yeah, that'll be good. It's good for serves, good for pushes, good for control. I'm definitely controlling certain shots because of the deadness of it and the grip or the tack. That's good. And then these are the two old 09C sheets that I found that I originally put on my backup blade to try out. They've been sitting around for like 2 years. Still got good grip. They still play fine. And so that's why I decided to switch from the other Dignics to the 09C. These are my two blades. I'm going to play the Harimoto Super LC with Dignics 09C both sides for the rest of the year. Possibly all next year. If you catch me playing a tournament, an official tournament, with something else besides my Harimoto and my Dignics 09C both sides, I'll give you $20, right? If you call me out on it. So there you go. Have to incentivize myself to not switch anymore. I think when I see both sides is good. So like I said, you catch me playing in a tournament with something else, I'll hand you $20. So Junction Guo's up 9-5 in game two. Guo plays long pips on the back end, I think. Well, I know she plays pips. I'm pretty sure long pips. And she's really tough to play. I always think it's funny when pips players are using these random colors though, like green or pink or whatever. It makes it much easier to remember they're using a weird surface to me, right? Like, oh, crazy color, crazy rubber. Need to go down right. Need some water. Be right back. 11-6, game two. Hmm. So, like I said, the official assembly time is done, right? The shop's closed. Unless someone says, hey, can you assemble something else? Then I'll find a racket to assemble. But I'll just take something off something else. I could try to like glue my feet to the floor with table tennis glue. I don't think it would work. Let's see if I put a link to MLTT, will people click it and watch it? Like I say, it's actually better if you just search for it yourself and find it instead of clicking the link. But click it. Yeah. So the final singles match of the regular season will be Olajide Omatayu on the Seattle Spinners versus Kanemitsu Koyo of the Revolution. So double O versus double K. That's for singles four. But the Revolution are in the process of running away with this team match, or already have run away with this team match. So there's not going to be any real stakes in that golden game, I don't think. But no big deal. Still be fun to watch. And yeah, here I am. Guess I could show any new viewers. This is the Hunter Venom Blade. I could look it up. Let's see. Let's see what a Hunter Venom Blade is. Hunter Venom Table Tennis Blade. Oh, they sell. Okay, from Paddle Palace. All right, so the Hunter Venom Blade, I think it's on the screen right now, is on clearance. It's 38.95 at Paddle Palace right now. It's an all wood blade, 5 plies. Let's see, 5 plies. Class is an offensive blade. And the brand, yeah, is Hunter. I've never heard of Hunter before, but all right, so on this side you got a Curl P4 TSP and Roxa 7. So you can see the Roxa 7 doesn't fit perfectly, but it came from a different blade, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, it feels fine, right? Actually, I'm okay with it. Anyone who was watching 30 minutes ago knows I'm not okay with it, but we're trying to get past that. All right, the DHS Power G. Let's take a look what people say about that. Well, okay, let me tell you a few reviews about the Hunter Venom. Let's see what people say. 5-star overall rating, but only 2 reviews. Lightweight but well made. Sounds great. Well packaged, in good condition. So, not too much about the actual blade itself. I'm not sure what the specific rules are on like pulling up websites and showing it. I don't think I'm supposed to show it, so I just read stuff. Anyway, I think this is a good combo because Roxa 7 you can play both sides really well, and you can attack, but you can also control. You can also even like chop and do funky stuff with Roxa 7 because it has such good control. And then Curl P4 TSP, assuming that's long pips of some sort. Let's see. Let's see what famous defensive player played with Curl P4 TSP. There's probably someone. So now it's called Victus Curl P4, but okay, that's interesting because I was noticing that when I was squishing the rubbers together on this blade, it felt really soft. So they're saying that this Curl P4 has a soft feeling to it. But I wonder if there's two different. If there's a Curl P4 chop and a Curl P4 regular. Yeah, maybe there is. Oh, same thing. Okay, it's discontinued, of course. Good rubbers. For a first-time defender, it's a great choice for developing your game. Great control, disruptive. Prácticamente haces lo que quieras. You can do whatever you want practically. So, good setup, probably, right? Probably be a pain to play against someone with the setup if they know what they're doing with it. So we'll see how that goes. But you can chop with it because it actually has chopping in the name. But I'm sure you can do some chop blocks and all different stuff. Anyway, disruption. That's in control. That's the name of the game for long pips. So it sounds good. If you're just joining me, I will ramble to myself nonstop for quite some time. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat and I'll look for them. If you're enjoying it, please like and let me know. I mean, I can definitely get more equipment things going, assembly or specific stuff. I'll see what I can do. I think the return boards are interesting. I don't know if people care about return boards, but I made a few. And each time I make one, I'm getting a little better at making them. But they're really useful practice. So if you care about return boards, let me know. Maybe I'll show you those. Oh, that goes to energy drink still. Like didn't go down well at the end. Otherwise, it was very tasty. All right. Enough about TSP Curl P4 long pips. Let's hear about this DHS Power G blade. Power G PG7, but this was 9. So this was G9. Sorry. On AliExpress is only $19. It's a pretty good deal. 7-ply offensive blade, but really fast supposedly. But let's see. So on RevSpin, so you can look at different places for reviews of equipment. Maybe that's something interesting about. You can find it on the actual websites where they sell them. Megaspin has a lot of reviews, great reviews. You can find it on Paddle Palace. Butterfly has some reviews. Butterfly's website is a little bit hard to navigate. I always think that's kind of, I don't know. You can see how certain websites succeed based on how other websites are not as easy to use. Let's see. And then RevSpin has lots of reviews. So you can Google like a blade or a rubber and RevSpin, and you can find tons of info on that specific thing. So people like this blade. Overall, it's 8.8 based on 16 ratings. Speed 9.1 out of 10. Control 8.6. Stiffness 6.3. Hardness 6.7. Consistency 9.6. But that isn't saying it helps your consistency. It's saying it's always identical. Excuse me. Very minimal vibrations. Extremely fast. Good for mid and long range. Feels better than all blades I've used. Love this huge sweet spot on this blade. So, okay, most people like it. One guy says slightly too hard, fast and stiff for my taste, but still superb touch and predictability. So, yeah, an aggressive blade by the sounds of it. And you put dignics with 5 both sides, should be good. Maybe a good combo. Yeah, it's pretty good. I think it turned out nicely. Let's see. That's dignics with 5 both sides of the DHS Power G. I mean, technically, I could put the side tape on it now because it's dried more or less, but I don't feel like it. I could, if it was a butterfly blade, I'd put the butterfly side tape, but I'll probably just put the other side tape on. But you can kind of see it. That's a 7-ply blade. Let's see if you can see it here. See the plies? There's 7 of them. Sounds cool. Anyone play with Dignics 05 out there? Anyone tried it? Let me know what you think. I was using it for a while. I like it. I mean, I think, like I said, a lot of people are using either 05 both sides, 09C both sides, or some combination of 09C and 05. There's something you said about 05 on the backhand is really good because that extra little bit of bounce is easier when you can't really put a full shot on it. But with 09C on my backhand now, I'm accepting that I'm giving up a bit of that bounce and speed, but I'm going to have to generate a little more myself, but I'm just going to stay closer and catch it more off the bounce so I can borrow the opponent's power, let's say. All right, so this one, tenergy 05 on the red side, let's say, because it could be forehand or backhand, doesn't have to be that way, and digging 64. So Axiom Solo, let's see what they say about this blade. So I'll put Axiom Solo Rev Spin in Google. So it says speed 8 points. This is based on 27 user rating. Speed 8.7, control 9.5, stiffness 5.1, average, hardness 5.1, medium, consistency 8.9, always identical. Overall 9.4. Looks amazing, feels amazing, well controlled, good for looping pairs well with harder rubbers. Most recent favorite all wood blade. Forms exactly as in the product description. Completely agree with description from manufacturer. People like it. Let's see what the description from the manufacturer actually says, and so people say it's so close to it. Unique 7-ply offensive blade for all-around topspin players. That sounds nice. Exceptional stability from high level of predictability. Solo is a unique 7-ply blade which is developed for continuous topspin or all-around strategy. Though it has 7-ply construction, its feel isn't hard as players are apt to imagine from conventional 7-ply blades. Solo is soft, mild balance, and full stability. Dot dot dot. So they go on for a while talking about this blade, as blade manufacturers do. Another one, so good choices. I'm not sure. Let's see what the price is on that one. So we'll go to Megaspin. How much they charge? Megaspin has best prices on things, and they'll match prices, so it's a good benchmark for prices. So this blade's actually discontinued there. Let's see if it's available. Table tennis 11. Table tennis 11 is another option for certain things. You can always kind of look around and see what stuff you can buy from different sites for the best prices. Because some people, I mean, some sites are a little restricted on things, or geographically, or shipping costs, whatever, what have you. Not loading. I'll be patient. So yeah, around 50 euros for this on table tennis 11. Reviews are good there as well. Over 4.5 stars based on 11 reviews. Yeah, popular blade. That's this one. It's actually it looks nice. I think I like how it looks. I'm partial to blue though, so I guess I am biased in that sense. It's a nice porta potty blue. No, I'm just kidding. Doesn't look like. No, it looks good. Let's see what they say about tenergy 05 and dignics 05, or is that really stretching for things to look at? So Olaji Omatayu won the golden point in game one versus Kanemitsu Koyo. It's kind of the Kole situation. I'm not sure which one's the first and last name. And now Olajide is up 3-2 in game two. My Tampa Bay table tennis mug. Remember that? We talked about that on a previous stream from back in the day. Me and a couple buds, we were playing ping pong out in the mountains during the gold rush. You had to be there. Or you could buy a mug, but I don't actually have a percent. I just made that one. But if you want to buy a mug, I'll make one. Oh yeah, Dignics 05. Let's see. Let's find something about Dignics 05 versus Tenergy 05 because, like I said, Dignics 05 kind of replaced Tenergy 05. Let's look at the AI overview from Google. Bear with me. We can't take it at its word for sure, but AI is everywhere, so we might as well start seeing just how useful it can be. The Butterfly Dignics 05 and Tenergy 05 are similar rubbers, but the Dignics offers more power and a grippier feel. The Dignics also has a harder sponge and stiffer top sheet, making it less bouncy. The Tenergy is great for imparting spin on the ball and is best for offensive all-round play. Okay. They say, trying to figure out which one, because they give you some other ideas. All right. So they're saying Dignics 05 is player level advanced, but Tenergy 05 is advanced to pro. Now that's interesting because I would definitely either have them in the same category, or I certainly wouldn't say that Dignics 05 doesn't reach pro level because many pros use it. The feel of Dignics 05 is premium. The feel of Tenergy 05 is hard and clunky. Okay, I think we've seen the limits of this Google AI overview at the moment. Sorry, that's enough. But we can still look at the items separately and make our own conclusion. So let's look at Tenergy 05 first. Tenergy 05, classic rubber. Some would call it a game changer. I used it on both sides of the Scaria for a while. It was really good. Definitely like in top spin play and blocking. Everything's like real fast and reactive off with good like, spin speed on all medium shots. Struggles a little bit in the touch play, and the biggest shots you don't quite get that reward like you would with an 09C or Hurricane 3. Tenergy 05, 4.5 out of 5 with 252 reviews on Megaspin. Who has a review of Dignics 09C versus Tenergy 05, so that'd be useful. Yeah, I think people mostly using Tenergy 05 now are advanced players who have been using it for so long they stuck with it. They didn't want to switch to something else. But it also does make attacking certain balls easier. It's more aggressive in some ways on the forehand than say Dignics 05 because Dignics 05 has that slower, harder sponge that takes a little more to activate it. Whereas 05 is pretty wild, I guess would be one way to say it. But it's definitely easier to attack a lot of shots. They're both good. I don't know. If, let's see, reading more about that. So singles four, third game. So Olajide won the second game 11-4. So he's really doing well here. Big shots. And this game is the difference between having a 5 point lead going into the golden game, meaning there's still a chance to come back, or a 7 point lead, meaning the trailing team can't win no matter what in the game, the golden game. So hopefully Olajide takes this game to make it a 5 point deficit, and then we can see if once again there could be a crazy result in this golden game. Because like I said, this weekend's had some golden games where the team is pulling off that crazy comeback, the ultimate comeback, whatever you call it, golden comeback. I don't think that's what they call it. But earlier in the seasons, when the teams were like playing for points, this and that, it was hard to be down five and come back. It only happened like Texas maybe did it twice overall in the 2 seasons or something, and then another team did it also, I think. But pretty sure it happened twice this weekend, maybe. It says two people have been listening to me for a while, so maybe you guys like left your computer on and went out and enjoyed your Sunday. Looks nice outside. You know, I'm in here assembling rackets and watching table tennis. Whatever. Let me know like about the streams if you care about the tournament streams. Right, I was at a tournament yesterday. I didn't stream my matches, and then I withdrew after a few anyway because I was coming in with a little bit a minor injury, let's call it. It wasn't it's not in pain like normally, but when I play, it can be a problem. So I want to make sure it gets better because I have more tournaments coming up. So once I was done, I streamed some of the top group, but the connection on my phone was bad. I realized so the quality on most of the streams is bad also. So sorry about that. When I go to Broward or when I go to Orlando, wherever, I'm gonna start asking them, make sure it's okay, but try and stream more. Maybe they'll let me use their Wi-Fi instead of my data. I was looking at my data usage for the past couple months with these streams. I'm sure the company is like, we gotta throttle this guy down. We can't give him all his data. So if you're out there with a Wi-Fi network and you want me to stream, let me know the password, please. Also, I'm gonna do some more VR streaming. It's actually how I hurt myself. I pushed it too hard in VR with training and strained my tricep. And so now when I do big forehands, it's like just a little bit of pain. So it's hard to play the tournaments when you can't really go for it all the way and fight back and stuff. So that's why I withdrew after playing a few, knowing I wasn't going to make it through the whole day no matter what. And I lost to the top, or the people I thought were going to win. So, whatever. Sorry. So Olajide won that game. They go to the golden game with a 5 point deficit, meaning Princeton will start the game with 5 points extra, and they'll do the golden thing. But yeah, anyway, so I'm gonna try to stream more matches at the tournaments of my matches, but also the top players and different levels so people can see it. I think it's nice to have some videos of the players around here. You know, it is called Tampa Bay Table Tennis after all, so even though Tampa Bay doesn't extend all the way to Orlando and Broward, I still feel like the players are moving around Florida, so might as well record. And most people are really happy about it. They like it, I think. Especially because if either you're too lazy to record or sometimes you're a little bit self-conscious with that, but then ends up being recorded, it's nice to have it around. You can watch yourself back. Of course, every once in a while you gotta watch yourself to try and analyze your play and improve. But it can be fun too. And it's nice to see some good shots here and there. They're getting ready to pick the teams for the Golden Game. If you're listening, let me know what you think about MLTT, about racket assembly, about table tennis, about ping pong. That's about it. I'm not too worried about what you think about other stuff. Okay. But yeah, do you care about robot training? Do you care about return board training? Do you care about serve training? Do you care about, I don't know, when training and giving advice to beginners? If you could hear it better if I had a microphone or something. Do you care about table tennis equipment? I don't know. Let me know what you care about. I was looking at it for the championship weekend, April 12th to 13th for MLTT. It would cost like 120 bucks or more for a hotel. Flight would be like 150, 200 bucks at least. Tickets are affordable for MLTT, so if they're ever nearby, you should definitely go. Get the courtside tickets, in my opinion, because that's like the best view. You're right up and close with the action. But I don't think I'll make it to Philadelphia, unfortunately. But if they come, I mean, obviously they're gonna hopefully come back to like Broward more next year for the Florida matches, but maybe they'll have other Florida locations too. So I'll try to go to a few. Has anyone been to an MLTT event? Like, how long can someone talk to themselves before they're considered crazy? I have to question that sometimes while I sit here. All right. So it's Ola versus Omatayu to start the golden game. Benedict got the first point, but then Olajide got the second one, so it's 6-1 now. One more serve for Ola. So if you start with a 5 point advantage in MLTT, then you only play 3 points for the first pairing because every pair plays 4 points, and you go to the next multiple of four. So if it's one, you play 3 points. Two, you play two, three, one, etc. Ola had a big backhand to get that other point. So 7-1. Now it's Jinshin Wong, the professor, versus Aditya Serene. Like I said, I got the commentary from MLTT my ear. They do a good job. Sometimes when I'm at live events, I'll try and put the commentary on an earbud and listen to it because then you get to watch it in person. But still listen to the commentary. I like the insights. Like if I'm at the Nationals or U.S. Open, I like to listen to Jimmy Butler talk. He was at the Texas event recently. I like his insights. I think it'd be interesting if MLTT might get Jimmy Butler involved a bit for some commentary, at least for like Texas events, maybe. I like Matt Heatherton a lot, and Sean O'Neill and Evan Leffler do a good job. I think it's tough to do commentary in table tennis. Adam Barbaro found his groove in it, but he's very particularly Adam Barbaro, right? He has his own brand of it. And Fraser Riley is building his brand in WTT, and MLTT is building their brand here. So the question is, how do you commentate table tennis matches that both in a way that appeals to more serious enthusiasts, but also casual fans? How do you balance it? I think we could pump up the energy level a little bit in general. Be a little like, for example, well, in UFC fights and stuff, but sometimes people will get upset when the commentators aren't talking about the action; they're kind of talking about other stuff and not reacting to like the big moments sometimes. So that could be one area where table tennis in general, let's say, the commentators could improve it, or some of them do a great job. But if a really big moment goes by without any reaction, and this happens like periodically, I think it's a mistake because people sometimes need to feel the gravity of the situation. I'm just kind of rambling on, like I said. So it's a golden game. 14-5, Princeton Revolution leads. We'll cut this out at the end of the golden game. So get any last minute questions in. Anything you want to tell me. Let me know if you think one of the rackets was done well, not done well. If you like the setups, right? Do you like the blade? Do you like the rubbers? Do you play it long pips, inverted? What? We got 3 likes. I appreciate that. And yeah, if you're my one loyal viewer, don't worry about it. You can bail when you want. Uh, I'll manage my emotions. Revolution are on their way here, little by little, getting closer to taking home the win. 16-6. Definitely missed the MLTT during the break after the regular season and championship until the next one, but I'm sure they're going to bring out a lot of good stuff for season 3, so looking forward to it. Ola's back on the table, so Ola was kind of one of those big signings, big deals in season 2, so a lot of expectations for him, let's say. He certainly helped bring the level of kind of excitement for the league up, so that's a success. Played well in big moments. But it's interesting. Ola's on the Revolution; they're not going to the championship, and Pittsburgh's on the Crocs; they're not going to the championship, right? And these are conceivably two of the biggest dogs in the league. Got big backhands, right? Oh, they sure do love talking about Ola's backhand, right? Oh, it's amazing, but let's be honest. Can it really be the best in the world? Yeah. I mean, you're not just absolutely just tearing everyone apart, right? What Lynch goes here, and he doesn't just beat everyone with his backhand, or no shot Alamian. Those aren't the best backhands in the world. I don't know. Just me. So it's 10-19 right now. Adi's got one more serve to Jin Wong. Nice. Nice backhand third ball down the line. So now Princeton got their golden point for the golden game. Very weird edge touch there. I don't know. Yeah, that was really close. It doesn't necessarily look like it's so clear, but either way. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So the umpire ruled it for Princeton, but Jin Wong says no, it touched. Yeah, no doubt in his mind, apparently. I mean, it seemed close to me from the camera, but whatever. I'm sitting here. So 2012, yeah, Cole and Koyo, they're doing exhibition point. I've seen these guys training before at the U.S. Open. They were training together a lot, so they're familiar with each other. Put on a little show here. Last point of the regular season of MLTT, season 2. Enjoy it. Cole lobbing, Koyo smashing, Cole out wide to the forehand side, Koyo on the table. Yeah, they're trying to do a little bit of that around the world style lobbing. Commentary enjoying the exhibition point. Cleo finishes them out wide. Very good. So that's the conclusion to MLTT Season 2. For people who have been around the channel for a while, you know I've been following MLTT since it was announced and throughout the kind of preview parts of the season. And that was Season 2 MLTT. If you didn't watch it, go out and watch the replays on MLTT. You can click it on their YouTube and watch the matches. Anyway, I assembled these rackets. If you're here and have any last minute questions about assembly or rackets, let me know in the next minute or two. Otherwise, I'm going to cut the screen. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the likes. If you like equipment stuff, like and subscribe, or if you have questions, leave a comment. I think MLTT did an amazing job with season 2. Can't wait for season 3. Can't wait for championship weekend, which comes first, actually. So watch championship weekend. Watch MLTT. Enjoy table tennis. And I will see you all later. So thanks for watching.